All right, so today I am with Cory Tyndall, also known as the gay rap artist PrettiBoiRoq. How are you doing today?
I'm good, baby. How are you?
Well, thank you. So, Cory, congratulations on your latest single, In My Ride.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a long time coming, so I'm glad to finally get it out.
Yes, definitely. So, can you begin by telling us a little bit more about the concept and inspiration behind the track?
Yeah, so I've been working on my first full-length LP for almost a year now. Right after Bad Bitchler got released, I decided I wanted to do something a little more like substance. Not that there was anything wrong with that single, but I wanted to show that gay music isn't just like shaking ass and going to the club and getting laid. Like there's so many layers to the gay community. So I wanted to write a love song, which are way harder to write than like club bangers. And yeah, I started dating this guy. It was the first like semi-serious relationship I had had since my long-term relationship ended.
Hmm.
And it just kind of started flowing and it started, becoming this whole like concept. And so I really wanted to encapsulate that like Katy Perry teenage dream kind of energy, like that young, innocent love that, I feel like as we get older, we find less and less of because we're so jaded to dating. But every now and then you find that person who makes you feel like you're like 16 again. And that was kind of the energy that our relationship had. And that's kind of the energy I wanted in the song. So
Okay, awesome. So, how has the track been received by listeners so far?
actually really well. It's doing well on YouTube. It's doing really well on Spotify. I think that I was kind of worried because I didn't know it's something so different than anything I've done before. So I wasn't sure if like the old fans would be as like excited about it. But I will say like overall the socials and things are growing. So I think uh I'm now reaching a new fan base because I am, rounding out my music a little bit more. So far so good.
Good, good. And In My Ride also has an accompanying visual that was directed by Nicholas Eastman. Can you
Yes.
tell us more about the video and what you were trying to or hoping to portray with it?
Yeah, so again, we were kind of like drawing a lot from like we looked at a lot of like similar concepts. Like We Found Love by Rihanna, Teenage Dream by Katy Perry. Again, we wanted that kind of like spiraling, chaotic, like first love energy, which is originally kind of what we wanted. And then when we looked at the footage, it was just so sweet and like beautifully shot, and it looked almost like a short film.
Yeah.
So we took out all the performance shots. So there was all these shots I had done where I was actually performing the song and things like that. We just took it all out and really approached it as a short film. And we
Mm.
actually extended the song for the video and added an extra 40 seconds of music. So that way
Nice.
we could properly tell the story. And it just became this like really sweet, like first date at
Hmm.
Santa Monica Pier, the actor Diego was amazing and he made everything so comfortable and he was so easy to work with. So
Yeah, yeah, that's my next question. Your love interest in the video is played by Diego Escobar. What was it like working with him, and what made him the perfect casting choice?
so I actually have reached out to a couple of models, but Diego was always number one. We had actually filmed a video together that never got aired, one of my friend's songs, that I was a feature on, and Diego played his love interest, and he just has this like charisma on film. And then I was actually watching Minx, which is a show I think on Amazon. It's on
Watching
something.
what?
Minx.
Me.
It's like the TV show about like the first like men's like essentially like first men's like Playboy or something like that. So I think it's
Oh,
on
okay. Okay, I think okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yes, okay.
or maybe HBO. It's on something. But anyway, season two was out, and so I watched episode one, and Diego was on the episode, and I was like,
Oh.
okay, universe is telling me. So I like reached out to him, and I was like, hey, like what's your model rate? I'd love for you to come do this project. And he was always so sweet and responsive. And the day on set, he just yeah did his thing and made everything so much easier.
Hmm.
Easiest model I've ever worked with.
Nice, nice. So you had like instant chemistry, instant connection, and just like working with him. I read in the press release like it was a very cold day on set, so you were like cuddling with each other already.
Yeah, it was extremely cold, and we had rented the Jeep because originally, like, the full concept was going to be a lot more of the Jeep, which we don't have a lot of footage of because it was so cold.
Yeah.
But when we rented the Jeep, the guy who we rented from, like, we either had to take the top off before we picked it up, or the top had to be on. We're like, well, we need the top down, so we'll just get it without. And it was like raining and like 60 degrees and like the wind was blowing and we're at the beach. So we were all freezing to death.
Mhm.
So yeah, there were a lot of blankets on set. There was a lot of like warming up in between like scenes, but we were troopers and we made it through. So
Yes, yes, love it. So In My Ride is the first single from your upcoming album. Is that correct?
it is.
Awesome. So what can you tell us about this project, the album?
It's fun. It's kind of chronologically like telling my story from the time of like my big breakup that kind of led to BBA, which actually isn't going to be on the album, but like because a lot of the music I was writing when Wayne and I first broke up was very angry, hostile music. It was very much like fuck you, like I hate you, this, that, and the other. And I was like, I really got to get out of this headspace. So I was working with my producer. We were listening to like more fun beats, and I was just it kind of was naturally telling itself. There was just like pieces missing throughout. And it just kind of kept evolving. And so I think what I want people to kind of listen to is like the album's going to be set up from start to finish, like a traditional hip hop album. It's going to tell a narrative from beginning to end. And it all comes full circle. So the first line on the first song is the last line on the last song. So it all kind of just loops back together. It's really cool concept.
Nice.
It's almost done. So
Okay, nice. Is there a title or release date yet?
the title is Prince of the South. Because I'm
Prince of the
originally
South?
from North Carolina. So I tapped into a lot more of like my southern roots with like the choices of beats and things like that. Still has the LA flair to it, of course. But tentative release date, I'm thinking March 31st, 2025.
Okay, okay. Why
Yeah.
March?
And it's my birthday.
Oh, okay, perfect. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna like, force people to buy the album as like a birthday present. So it's
I
all just a big marketing scheme.
Perfect, perfect. So yeah, I mean, in my ride, you are aiming to show a different side of your music and aesthetic, like you said, but it's also different sonically from anything you released before, right?
Yeah, it's very much more in like I would say more pop element.
Oh, okay.
There is some rapping involved, but it's the hook and everything. It's very melodic. I would say pop, bubblegum rap. Yeah.
Okay, okay, perfect. Yeah, so you moved to LA from North Carolina and when you were 18 and instantly followed your passion for music. What specifically drew you to the hip hop industry?
Besides the fact that I can't sing that well, no, I always like grew up like I grew up like super religious and like Christian, and my mom and my dad were both, my dad was a minister, my mom was like, a preacher's wife up until they got divorced. So I grew up in the church. We weren't really allowed to listen to our music. And I remember middle school to high school, my first exposure to really secular music outside of like Christian and country
Hmm.
was hip hop. And it was around like, like when Little Kim was kind of coming up, 50 Cent, like Ludacris. And, we would be like in the car listening to these songs. And I always like would just take the rap part because I didn't want to sing. And like, so I would memorize these lyrics and rap, and it just kind of always resonated with me. And I love the narrative driven aspect of hip hop music. I feel that like, it's rhythm and poetry for a reason. You're kind of telling a story.
Hmm.
And that kind of fed into like the fact that I love to write as well. So it kind of all just became an amalgamation. And then I just found out I was actually good at it. So I kept going.
Kept going, yes. And you said you feel like there's not enough representation of love in gay hip hop. Why do you think that is?
Because I don't think love sells. I think, when you're a struggling artist in the industry and you're trying to make it and you want something to like really like take off, sex sells so much better than love. And, I've noticed that with like, tracks I've released in the past. Like I've written like on my first EP, you have the club bangers, you have the this, you have the that, and it's always the like sad love songs or, the things that you're trying to tell a story always tend to not resonate as well. And I think people want palatable, easy to consume music a lot of times, especially within our community, because 90% of the time when we're listening to music, it's like at the bars, it's at the clubs, it's very much ingrained in our culture. So
Definitely. And so with this new batch of songs and the new album, would you say you're kind of moving away from your House of Ken era?
I'm trying to like we're trying to kill Ken essentially. I think he'll always be there, but like the whole Ken persona, like the plastic doll aspect that like I kind of got pigeonholed into and then just ran with it because it was fun. I
Mhm.
want to show that I'm not just like a pretty face that shakes ass on TV and like,
Mhm.
looks good all the time. That'll
And
definitely
we
still be
do,
the
we
album.
do love that, but
Thank you. Like it'll still be there. Don't worry. Like there's so much ass shaking on this new album too, but there's a lot of other things too. Like, I talk about like my childhood. I talk about like breakups. So we kind of want to just reach a more mature era, I think. So we are I say us, I have a creative team. Nick is one of them. He's
Mhm.
directing every visual for this album. Um, but yeah, we're kind of trying to move into a more like adult direction. I want to be taken more seriously as an artist. And I think as long as I hold that Ken thing, it'll always just be that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, how else would you say you're evolving as a musical artist?
I would say visuals as well. We just shot again on Monday. Like we're really trying to create concepts and narratives to each of the songs. And like I said, really just diversify the portfolio.
Hmm.
I'm also working on my performance aspects as far as like live gigs and things like that. That's always something it was never my favorite part of making music. I feel like
Hmm.
it's so stressful for 10 minutes on a stage.
Yeah.
Um, but I am working with teams on that as well, to just so that way when this album rolls out and I start booking these gigs, I really want to have the whole package this time. Because I think I spent so much time originally working on the music that I didn't work on the live gigs. And then so it kind of
Hmm.
didn't balance, if that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, definitely. I get that. Yeah. Well, Corey, what are some future goals or other future goals you hope to accomplish with your career and platform?
I want to see how this project gets received. We're definitely gonna be going heavy on like the visual aspects of this album in the next year and a half.
Hmm.
So I won't be after this is out, I'll definitely be focusing on that. I think long term for me though, I would say I always wanted to like write for other people. I think eventually long term, I would love to get into more of like the behind the scenes, write for other artists, really help their careers go way beyond what I could do with mine and things like that. And especially if it was a queer artist, that'd be even better.
Hmm.
But I would write for anybody. So yeah, I think long term, I want to get into that arena more.
Who are the top three artists you would love to write for?
Ah, um, well, most of my favorite artists write for themselves, so I don't know. I would say like up and coming. Oh, that's hard because, like I said, a lot of the people I idolize are very much like icons in the industry. Like even in the gay arenas, like you know, Caswell was one of like my like
Love Cat.
icons growing up. He kind of paved the way for a lot of what I do.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I mean, I would love to write for him. I don't. I think he writes for himself. So you know what I
Then
mean?
then let me reset the question as who would you love to collaborate with in some way?
Oh, definitely Caswell. He's on my list of people. Before I die, I will get a feature from him. Um, I mean, Mickey Blanco is amazing. More mainstream artists, obviously, I'd love to work with like Lil Nas X, Troye Sivan, uh, Iggy Azalea. I would love to do a song with her.
How about Chaperone?
You know what? I have to do a little more research on her. I have listened to a couple of songs. I think she's amazing.
Hmm.
I am blown away by what she was able to do.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think I would want to do more research, but I would absolutely, obviously, like they're obviously very talented. So there's no way I would say no.
Just do a little bit more research on them.
Yeah, I would because I would want to be like, at this, I would want to bring something to the table that's within their element as well.
Of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay, awesome. All right, Corey. Well, how can one stay up to date with you the best?
Well, all my socials are pretty much linked. Just follow at PrettiBoiRoq, PrettiBoiRoq. Yeah, YouTube, Instagram, are my biggest ones. I'm very responsive on both.
Are you on
Uh,
TikTok?
hmm,
Are you on TikTok?
I try. I'm not good at TikTok. I think I might be too old. I don't understand it. I was just joking because I follow like a lot of like music promotion like companies and things. How to like get your music to this and get your music back.
Mhm.
Like really, I'm constantly trying to build a brand and build an audience. And obviously, TikTok's a very lucrative way to get your music out there.
Yeah.
And I really suck at it. I think I need to hire somebody to do my
S-
TikTok for me.
Same here, because even with my interviews, like I want to get my interviews out there a little bit more and my platform built up more. And it's like I just don't know how to do TikTok. I mean, I'm on there all the time, just scrolling and watching videos. I was like, how the fuck do I do this for myself? I have no clue where to start.
Yeah, it was funny because like literally within my ride, I was watching this podcast and this guy's like, so you have to like have TikTok set up for the next 3 days and like, have the same exact audio clip or have something different. So I was like, okay. So I went through and did it all. And like the first one posted and I was like, I got like 1,600 views in an hour. I was like, oh, cool. Like I'm doing something. And then I released the next one at the same time the next day and it got like 2 views.
Of course.
Then I deleted it, re-uploaded it. It got like 16. I don't know. I don't get it. TikTok's algorithm is weird. Instagram, I think I've been on so long, I kind of have it down to a science. Like I always do okay on Instagram, but yeah, I gotta figure out TikTok.
And then once you figure out TikTok, then something new is going to come out, and you're like, okay, I'm done.
Well, that's how I feel on Instagram. I finally like cracked the code and like found a way to like really engage with followers and build a fan base. And now I feel like it's kind of becoming overshadowed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just always a day late and a dollar short, I guess.
Oh
But
well, I'm right there with you. All right, Cory. Well, how before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you'd like to mention or plug at this time?
yeah, so our next single, Anne and Andy, is coming out on October 1st. We just shot a Halloween themed video. So it's gonna
Nice.
be very scary and fun and sexy. Again, something very different. So I'm excited to share that. But yeah, October 1st will be the official release date for that. So stay tuned.
All right, fantastic.